large, diverse group of agents that are all over the state, sometimes international. We get international people on here too. But what we're from is we're open to all brokers, all realtors, commercial, residential, and all different experience levels. And what's really cool, what we're going to be doing is today we're going to be talking about a really relevant topic. But before we get into that, I want to share with you real quick some things we have for you to help you stay abreast of what we're doing here. So I'm going to show you a couple screens real quick what we're doing. We have a YouTube channel. If you guys can see my screen, we record everything because obviously we know that sometimes Mondays you got closings and things like that. Here's the thing. I would encourage you to come live. You're going to get the most out of it live. And here's why I'll tell you that. How many things do you have that are on your list that you're going to get around to watching, right? You're going to get
Right.
around to do it. And the chances are you never do. So to encourage you here with this, what we do is we're actually going to be taking the transcript of this and turning it into some AI notes. And then for everybody who's on here, when your email comes in and gets registered, we're going to send you a copy of the AI notes of the notes that we're taking with this. And we'll send it over to you. And it's just some cool things because sometimes we talk fast. But on top of that, we record it. It's on YouTube so that you can come in and we have the long version. And then we also do things called shorts. Shorts are where you give us some good advice, right? Well, we're going to chop your segment into your minute or minute and a half segment or whatever you say. We're going to chop it into a short, and then we're going to share it on our YouTube channel, stuff like that. And then you can share it to your social media. Why would you want to do that as an agent? Because it's third-party documentation that you know what you're talking about. And you'll be able to send it out there, and it helps you if you're doing any recruiting or also for your sphere of influence, right? So we've got that. We've got what's really cool here is we also have an Instagram channel. We post things on there so you can see what's going on. So make sure you follow our Instagram channel. And all the links will be in the chat box, by the way, so you can check them out. We also have a Facebook page, tells you about cool things we have coming up. Also, we like to give attaboys and attagirls. What is that? Well, if you send us a message that says, hey, I was on the cover of Real Producers Magazine or whatever it is, we'll go ahead and create a graphic for you, congratulating you. And then you can share that on your social media. That's third-party documentation. Instead of you self-promoting and bragging about yourself, we'll brag about you. And then you're just sharing someone else bragging about you, which is really cool. And then, of course, we have a web page. Now, on this web page, there's a ton of information across the top. I encourage you on your own time to go and explore all those different tabs. But here we've got on the events tab, it tells you what we're going to be talking about each week. And today is going to be an open forum. What's that mean? That means you guys are on. We're going to be asking some questions, getting some discussion going, and we're going to be talking about foreclosures. Will foreclosures be the next big wave? And how to prepare and capture the opportunity. Now, we have done one thing security-wise on our Zoom is you'll need to raise your hand or something and flip your camera on if you want us to make a short of you, because we've had some trolls coming in and we're troll-proofed now. In fact, I think we've been a couple of weeks without being trolled. So
That's right.
our new security measures are working, but we want to hear from you. Now, some of you might be brand new. You're like, well, I don't know what I can contribute. Here's what you can contribute. A great question. Ask a question, because a question that you have, I promise you, is a great question, because we get a lot of shy people that don't want to speak up and ask. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to be talking about today the current market trends, what they're telling us about the potential rise in foreclosures. The information we're going to give you today is going to be great content for you to take and either share to your social media or take it and reproduce it yourself. I would highly recommend taking our information we discussed here today, reproducing it yourself, and putting it out on your social media. It's a conversation starter. The reason you're posting on social media is to start a conversation. So we're talking about some social media opportunities for you to use on your social media. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Spit it out, Jim. So we're also going to talk about how to position yourself now to serve homeowners, buyers, and investors. Guys, we're going to be talking about this. How do you get a portfolio of investors? By talking on social media about foreclosures. They love them. We're also going to talk about proven strategies to identify, prepare for, and capitalize on foreclosure-related business before the competition gets in. Here's the thing we know about real estate. You want to get started ahead of time. You want to get it going before it hits. You want to get your education out of the ways. You want to do a few before it slams into you, right? Like a freight train and gets going like that. So with this today, I want to start off real quick with some ChatGPT derived statistics, but I want to frame this conversation because here's what's happening in the media. The media loves to scare the crap out of people, right? Because that's how
Right?
they get eyeballs, right? That's how they get money. And so what they're talking about on the TV is saying 2008, we've got a foreclosure crisis coming. Now, I'm going to give a disclaimer. Everybody on here is in a different market. And as we know about real estate, it is hyper local. Hyper local,
Mhm.
meaning when it's hyper local, it means it's different everywhere, right? And not just from state to state or city to city, but literally in real estate from street to street. You can have an entire street of foreclosures while the rest of your city is running perfectly fine, right? So we know that. So keep in mind, all the numbers I'm going to be giving you are national numbers. It's going to be different in every state, in every city, and every little township and street that people are in and neighborhood, okay? So let's talk about this media blitz out there trying to scare everybody, saying, 2008 is coming again, right? Everybody knows what 2008 was, right? The GFC, the great financial crisis that was blamed on real estate agents and realtors, right? So here's something you need to know. 227,000 properties had a foreclosure filing in the first half of 2026. Doesn't that sound terrifying? I mean, you hear that number. Oh my gosh, 227,000 in the first 6 months. And that's 21% higher than in 2025. And that's 28% higher than 2024. Now, when you first hear that, what do you think? It's terrifying, right? You're like, oh my gosh, we are going into a crisis. This is terrible. But here's what we need to know. We're going to frame this thing up. Foreclosure starts were up 18% year over year. If you just heard those numbers, and if you're in the public and you're reading the Wall Street Journal and you're just reading headlines of the New York Times, wherever it is you read, and just jumping on the news real quick and catching the headlines, that could terrify homeowners and potential buyers, right? Who wants to buy right into a major foreclosure crisis? Because those numbers sound horrifying. 227,000 foreclosures. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Well, let's get it into it here. Oh, real quick, let me tell you bank repossessions. Lenders completed 28,000 REOs, real estate owned. REO, if you don't know what that means, real estate owned, that means the banks took back 28,000 homes. So 227,000 filings, but only 28,000 actually went back to the bank. Okay. So keep that in mind. So what is that? Is that about 10%? A little more than 10, maybe 12%
Yeah.
actually became real estate owned. So somebody was stepping in, and this is your
Mhm.
opportunity part. We'll talk about it in a second. 227,000 people where they filed the foreclosure, but only like around 12% of those actually followed all the way through to the end. Somebody, probably a seasoned agent, a trusted expert, was coming in and helping guide those people so they don't end up with a foreclosure. They were
Mhm.
stepping in and they were helping them. Okay. So REOs are up 33%. Sounds horrifying, right? Here's a stat if you want to calm people down. That is below 2020 levels. So all the bluster you're hearing out in the news and the newspapers and things like that that are trying to, a lot of times it's politically motivated, right? They're trying to steer people one way or the other or scare people or just get eyeballs, right? Because those stats will bring people in. Those are lower than 2020. How about that? So rising foreclosures and foreclosure crisis are two different things. So are we in a foreclosure crisis? Well, mortgage delinquencies are at a 4.37%. 4.37% sounds high, right? Well, that's actually what is it? So it's increased 4 consecutive quarters, but what we're seeing is it's way, way lower than 2008. Here's
Mhm.
the reason why. Homeowners have substantial equity now, which they
Mhm.
did not
Yep.
have in 2008. In 2008, somebody owed 350,000 on their house, but it would only sell for 200.
Mhm.
That was the problem back then. Here's the stat right now on equity. 41% of mortgage properties are what they call equity rich. It means the owner owes no more than half the property's estimated value. So here's how they measure it. You owe 400,000, you owe less than 200. So 50% or more equity. 41.1% of mortgage properties are equity rich. A lot of properties out there have no mortgage at all. They're owned free and clear. I don't have that stat. If somebody wants to pull that up and either put it in the chat or raise their hand and come on here and tell us how many homes in the United States right now have zero mortgage. It's a big number. I know that, and I don't have it in my stats right here. If somebody wants to chat GPT that up and let us know what's going on. So why is this mortgage crisis that they're pushing to get eyeballs and to make money, right? Why this is not 2008, okay? So what's the difference right now between a distressed owner of 2008 and a distressed homeowner of 2026? Who wants to go?
Tony's up. He's got his hand raised.
Go ahead.
Tony
Let's
Cousteau.
unmute Tony. Let's put Tony in
All
here.
right. Roughly 40% of all owner-occupied homes in the United States are owned free and clear, meaning homeowners have no mortgages. This represents a steady increase over the last decade, up from about 32.8% in 2010.
So what was that again? What was the stat again on that, Tony? Justo,
Roughly
go ahead.
40% are owned free and clear, up from a decade ago of 32.8%. So you're looking at about a
4 out of
7%.
10. Yeah. 4 out of 10 homeowners have no mortgage whatsoever. And then out of the 6 out of 10 people that do have a mortgage, nearly half of them owe less than half of their half on their house. They have 50% or more equity.
And
So you're
here's an
talking
interesting stat.
yeah, you're talking about out of that 10, right? You're talking, what is that? 7 out of the 10 have 50% or more equity in their home, and a bunch of those have zero mortgage on it, right? So we're talking about a small sliver of people that even could potentially be in what could be a distressed, okay? So I would argue if you have 20% equity in your house, you're still equity rich, right? People come in like that. Tony Williams was going to unmute. Tony Williams, what were you going to say? Difference between 2008 and 2026. And if you guys don't know who Tony Williams is, he's been doing real estate now for, are we 50 years now, Tony? Oops, we got to unmute
We
you,
got to
brother.
unmute
Go ahead
Tony.
and
Hold
unmute.
on. Let's
Tony Williams.
Okay,
There you
how
go.
you guys doing?
Good.
So the one thing I saw on that stat was that let me pull it one more time here, was that 54% of those that are paid off are over 65 years of age. 54%.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people out there that are going to downsize or go into assisted living or something like that in the next few years. So it's the time to
Got it.
be marketing towards senior adults.
Mm-hmm.
Raise your hand out there right now if you currently have an REO listing, a real estate owned, a bank property owned foreclosure listing. Raise your hand. Let's see how many have got them right now. Stacy and I have 2. Does anybody have one besides us? Or put in the chat. Craig Constantino's shaking his head no. Rena Harper, you got one? Rob Campbell, you guys have anybody that's got foreclosure listings, right? Okay, so where are we going to find the opportunity then? What's the opportunity? There's not that many, full REO listings from the banks. Where's the opportunity? Because we're seeing the numbers climb. So where's your opportunity to come in as a trusted advisor? What can you do? We heard the numbers earlier, and I kind of gave it away a little bit earlier. Who wants to talk on that?
Well, what I've found, Jim, in conversations with banking people is that banks really do not want to foreclose on a property. They're not in the holding real estate game. They don't like it. It doesn't work for their model. It's clunky for them. They don't want to do it. So during the crisis, they actually held back on foreclosures But then the equity started going up. So they kind of ignored them for a while. They kind of held the debt. They'd rather hold the bad debt on their books than to foreclose and have the property and have to deal with it. Well, that's probably why you're seeing such a large span in the numbers where you have a number of foreclosure filings, but the actual foreclosures are so low. It's because of equity. People have equity in their home. For some reason, they can't make the payments, and that's something that's been happening in their life, a personal situation or whatever. But they have equity, so they have options, and that's where agents can find a way to get in the loop to find those properties before they actually go to foreclosure, help the bank get them off the books, sell the home, get the homeowner some equity or out from under the loan. The '08 crisis, the big problem was there was no equity. And there was a huge loss, and we had to do short sales and negotiate with the bank, and that was a lot. Are we going to see some of those? Probably, because the people that bought at the peak, they're underwater right now. I mean, that's just a fact. But the vast majority, like you said, are not underwater. They have equity, so there's options for them. Here's the big question we need to figure out. How can we get ourselves as agents in the loop with the banks, with the mortgage people, with the financial consultants, with the different people who know when somebody's having a problem, to try to get that business and help the client out at that point in time.
I agree with that. I like it. I think the opportunity, and we're going to go to Tony Giusto next on this, is the fact it gives you something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so relevant in the media right now, every agent on here needs to take your local numbers, have the national numbers too, handy, but take your local numbers and get out there and dispute what's going on the news. Well, how would I do that, Jim? How would I do that? Well, you go to Zoom, a free account, and you do a Zoom for one, and you pull up the websites and you have the tabs open you're going to go to, and you turn your video on and then share your screen and put your little video up in the corner and just read the websites that are out there and the stats that you came up with. Use your chat GPT or whatever you're using,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your AI, and read the information. Your face is in the corner and you read it and you're putting it out there. And this stuff is going to help people. Here's what's going to do for you. Number one, you're going to find some buyers. There's some buyers that are terrified, right? Maybe they're two young kids, right? And they're making good money, but they're like, I'm not going to buy right now. And then I saw what happened to my parents in 2008. It was brutal. I don't want that, because they're seeing the headline stuff, right? A lot of people, it's a proven fact, like on newspapers and stuff, most people only read the headline and they never read down, or maybe first part of the first paragraph, and they don't read any more of the article on that, right? So
Right.
they're putting the terrifying stuff out there. I saw Tony Giusto said earlier, controversy gets people calling, right? So you're going to get some buyers. Your call to action is going to be, hey, if you know anybody who's behind on their mortgage, don't let them get into foreclosure. There's very little reason for them to be in foreclosure. Exactly what Rob said. And you can say, banks don't want to foreclose. They want to work something out. Have them get in touch with me. I'm experienced at doing this. And if you're not experienced in doing it, find yourself a real estate buddy that is experienced. They're usually probably got some of this wisdom hair. They were around 2008. They had no wisdom hair before 2008. And then after 2008, they ended up with a bunch of it, is what happened with that. But if they survive through that and then have them help walk you through things, sometimes you're just going to be able to help people, rescue them by helping them get an intervention with the bank, where the bank just takes the payments they're behind, sticks it on the back end of the loan, recasts the whole loan, and lets them keep going, right? Sometimes people get behind, they lose their job, they miss a couple paychecks, and they just need to catch up, and then they're good to go, right? I'll tell you what, you help save somebody from foreclosure, they will never forget you, ever.
That's right.
And they'll be your best referral partner like that if you help them, rescue them from that. Because when there's financial stress in the family, it causes stress on everything, on the romance department, being a parent for the kids. It affects everything, right? And so you don't want that. Tony Giusto, I talked enough. It's up to you. Go, buddy.
Well, I was just going to pivot on and say, great place to go start looking for leads on this, pre-foreclosure lists. I just got a listing last week, Thursday, from a woman that I talked to 2 years ago. And when I say this, this is completely an embarrassment on me, but it shows how good of a job I did. When I talked to her 2 years ago, I did not follow up. She said, she was going to be working with some mortgage company that was going to help her get her mortgage. They screwed her. She finally got to the bank and they did a loan modification with her, but uh, right now she's like, I don't want the house anymore. She called me back. I have not done any sort of follow up with her in the 2 years since when I first talked to her. And she still came back. I now have it listed, and the house is in complete disarray. It's going to be a tear down, and an investor is going to come in, buy it, and build either a new McMansion or a multi-family home, or some townhomes, and net quite a big profit because she's on half an acre of land in a great town right down the street from a school. But point being, market to pre-foreclosures and start talking to them. Ensure you have on your team somebody who you can send them to that can advise them on how to work. And if they're in struggling to get a loan modification or something, you might not get the listing right away, but the more you do, the more help you provide, the more that person will remember you. And even if you do just a minor drip campaign with a, hey, how's it going? Do you need anything? Have any questions? Or send them a stupid recipe or something just to keep, top of mind awareness. And you will get so much more business. Might not be immediate, but you will get it.
Most people I find don't, when they panic, right? They call it the fight or flight. There's the people that will attack it head on. That's not most people. Most people in fear put their head in the sand and just hope it'll go away. It's going to fix itself because they don't know where to go. This is where you guys come in. You come in as the trusted advisor, somebody who's sympathetic, somebody they don't have to be embarrassed with. Look, you just say, look, I deal with people like this all the time. You'd be amazed at people who are millionaires that are stuck in this situation, right? Because their lifestyle grows to be with what they earn, right? So there'll be people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that are still paycheck to paycheck. It's true. It happens, right? And a lot of times it's a job, or it could be something horrific, a divorce, a death, an illness, right? That can cause people to be in a distressed situation. Now, Tony used the word pre-foreclosure. Who would like to unmute and tell us what that is? Because we haven't heard this really pre-foreclosure talk for 15 years. Who wants to unmute and do that? I know Tony Justo knows what it is, but who else wants to talk and say what a pre-foreclosure is? Because I think everybody needs to know that terminology. Tony Williams, I know you know it. Go ahead, you got to unmute though.
Good grief. Uh, uh, somebody is normally getting close to 3 months behind on their payments. You can be foreclosed on in Georgia after 30 days. But if
Wow.
you get up to around the 3 month mark, you're going to be listed out on a list of pre-foreclosures. So, and if you know someone that is in that situation, the biggest thing they need to do right away is start talking to their bank to come up with a plan and use some more time to help them get out of that debt by selling the property. But that's normally what I see a pre-foreclosure as.
Yeah, so there's different states. Tony, are you guys a judicial state for Georgia? What type are you guys for foreclosure there?
Nope, non-judicial state.
Okay.
Yeah, we can, if you're 30 days, they can advertise your property, and that's enough notice and foreclose.
Ohio is a judicial state. It's 90 days before the process starts. That's when they list the fact that you're 90 days behind. So pre-foreclosures means the bank hasn't taken it back yet. Anything up into that is pre-foreclosure. Now, Tony Justo said earlier that he got a list, pre-foreclosure list. Who would like to unmute and tell us where you find those types of things? Who out there would like to? We keep going to the same people talking if we want, but if anybody would like to get a little clip of themselves doing it, Tony Justo raises his hand. Anybody else? Tony, we're coming to you, Justo. Just be ready. Anybody want to talk? Go ahead. Go ahead, Tony. What is a Where are you getting your lists from? And if anybody
Well,
wants to put in the
there's
chat, by the way, if anybody ever wants to answer these questions in the chat, I'll read them for you. If
Yep.
you don't want to come on, go ahead and put it in the chat. But go ahead, Tony.
there's multiple ways where you can get yourself a list. If you're in tight with a mortgage broker, they can pull up a list for you and give it to you for free to market to. You could also go, and there's millions of different companies out there that you can purchase lists from. Usually some of the good ones will be down around the 3-4 cents a name. They do have a minimum, but it's usually, like about 150, $200. So it's not that expensive in order to purchase a list. Another way is you can go down to your local courthouse, do some research, pull the information, and market a list that way. So there's basically a little of everything for everybody, depending on what your budget is and your time and how you can do things in order to acquire a list.
What about something as simple as this? You go on social media and you put out a message, say, hey, who do you know? This is one of the sentences right here, questions right here that will make you more money in real estate than anything out there. Write this down. Who do you know? 4 words in a question. Who do you know that, and then describe what you're looking for. Things are tough out there right now. So I have a question for you. I've been helping people that are distressed homeowners that had some bad things happen in their life, like bad things happen to good people and they're in trouble with their mortgage. Who do you know out there that I could help, that I could either reach out to, or you could put me together on a 3-way text, or that you could send them to me and I could help them because they don't have to lose their home? Who do you know like that? It's a simple video to make. It can be evergreen on your website. You can send it in your email newsletters. You can text blast it. You can do a voicemail drop with it. It's a great 30-second voicemail drop to your entire sphere of people you do. If you don't know what voicemail drops is, go into our library on YouTube and watch our marketing techniques, our mass marketing techniques. It's totally legal. Makes it sound like doing something illegal, Rob. But you can send that message out. And look, it's awesome to get paid. But I can tell you this, Stacey and I were one of the top short sale agents in Central Ohio back when the crash came here. It was devastating here.
Nice.
What happened. The
So
agent
Jim,
count, yeah,
Jim, what we used to do back in the day is we would have relationships with our title companies, our closing companies, and if you're doing a lot of business with them, they'll go out and pull that list for you because they want you to get those deals and bring them back to them.
that is great, right? That's even outside your sphere. That's a title company of people that you can go and you can reach out to, right? The key to this thing is let people know there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You're a good person. Your credit score is not your worth. None of that matters, right? What matters is that we don't let it go all the way to the end. Your bank will not punish you for where you are right now, but they will punish you if you make them go all the way to the end and take the house back. They absolutely will then, because you kind of thumbed your nose in their face. They want to help you, and I know how to navigate it. Please reach out to me. There's nothing to be afraid or ashamed of. If you've had problems yourself in the past, you can use that story yourself, right? And you can use stories to get people to reach out. But your sphere, I say sphere weird, I know that. Your sphere of influence is the best place because people are embarrassed. And look, they're also being prospected by not everybody has the best intentions. There are wolves in sheep's clothing out there that will try to get them and take advantage of them and take money from them and things like that. My recommendation is to go in to help them for free.
Yeah.
See if you can help them. And I'm telling you, it will generate a referral machine for you. If you help somebody save their house and don't charge them anything and put them in a position to get back on the right track, they will be faithful to you forever because you fix that in their life. You're fixing more than just ones and zeros on their checking account. You're helping everything in their life if you do that. And it's a great topic right now because of what's going on out there. Rob's right about the title company. You can do that and you can chase people that don't know you. I would recommend doing all of it and getting ahead of this in case this thing does become a crisis, in the future. I mean, the US just crossed 40 trillion in debt, right? We could always see something happen. You never know what's coming. One hiccup in the banking industry, and you could see this thing start to tumble. It doesn't look like it's going to happen because people have too much equity. You'd have to have equity values in real estate plummet 50% before you get a crisis like back in 2008 again. It's just not going to happen, but there will be some ones here and there that happen. Stacey and I, the only reason we have two right now is because we have a bank that was a hard money bank, was lending out hard money left and right in 21 and 22, right? When things were going nuts. And then, the market is kind of stabilized now and the people were upside down. And so they do an immediate foreclosure when there's a hard money loan. They don't have to go through the whole judicial process. It's called a quit claim deed. They quit claim it and then they hand it to Stacey and I to sell it and get their money back for them, is what they're doing with that. That's the reason we have them. They've been sending them to us, boom, 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 like that. But like
That's
senior big
building
banks like
relationship with
Chase and stuff like that.
financial. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's building relationships, right?
right. Building relationship with people out there. Divorce attorneys,
Mm-hmm.
great place. The house has to sell according to the divorce. They're upside down in it. Neither one has any money. You can get in there and you can negotiate this thing, right? To work out with the bank so that they don't end up with a foreclosure, right? So those are great places. Where else are some other lead places for distressed properties besides your sphere? Talked about that. Talked about divorce attorneys. Talked about title companies. Talked about buying lists. Who else out there would know? Anybody else got other ideas? Kim, I see you reaching for the button. You gonna unmute? Go
Well,
for it.
so actually, this is a time, when we have to be so compassionate. I mean, our conversation got to be pure empathy right now for the people around us. You have no idea. I mean, literally, we live in Sewanee, a very rich, rich area. And Rob and I got texts where people actually asking if there's some help out there that cover the first, the mortgage like next month, like three people in our own little city. I mean, attended like the kids are going to Lambert High School, which is a very popular high school in Gwinnett, Forsyth County and Gwinnett County. Yet, so people are suffering. So my point is that not only the SOI, but like call, reach out, see how everything's going. And like, man, have you seen the market? You know what I mean? Have that kind of compassionate talking and like, this is not anybody else doing. This is, where the market is right now. So do you know, is everybody okay? Just want to let you know, hey, if you hear anything else, like when you talk to your SOI, if you hear anything from anybody, hey, have them call, Rob and I, or like Jim and Stacy, right? Like just have them call me. We'll walk them through it and do it in a very, so it's not about them, you calling, right? If you hear anybody else, because
Yeah.
right now
Who do
it's
you know?
who do you
Mhm.
know? And do in a way where you compassionate, like, yeah, this is market is not like the 2008, it's very different, but it needed, somebody like me to come in and help them. So if if or anybody, you know, you should, because I did have those conversations with like at least three moms, in our area, and I was shocked. I'm like, dude, you know how much you have to make to live in this area, and to get them to talk to me how they lost their job. Like, wow, I was watching, Cash and I, when Rob and I were watching the football game, and then they just whispered to us like, yeah, hey, we just let go of our job, and let go of our job is like,
Right.
oh, I didn't know what to say, like shocked me. So yeah, have compassionate conversation right now, because right now they're not there yet, but you got to be there with them, because it will
There's
happen
nothing.
if they don't find another
So,
job soon.
Yeah, Kim's right. There's nothing
so
like sitting across the kitchen table across from somebody and
Yes,
just seeing the weight come off their shoulders. We
right.
tell them, look, we can
Oh,
handle this. In fact, you
yes.
don't have to foreclose. We can sell your
No,
house as a
Mhm.
traditional listing, and you'll actually get some money to walk away. We'll get you another house to rent in the same school
right.
system so your kids don't have to do it, and then we'll just bring you back and buy in two
Yes.
years. Right? The weight just comes off their shoulders. They think they're going to be on the street,
Yes.
and they're not going to be. We
Oh,
got Jordan Ray with his hand up for a little bit. I'd like to bring him. Tony Williams, I think you want to talk, and then Justo, I see your hand up too. So Jordan Ray, if we can unmute him so he can talk, Love to hear what you have to say, Jordan. Can we unmute
There we
Jordan?
go. Looks like it's
There we
working
go.
now.
Cool, man. You're
Uh,
good.
I've been in and out, but I wanted to throw out there that a good way to get foreclosures. What I've been doing is putting yourself on like Pyramid and Pyramid's really been my favorite, my main one. But if you put yourself on some of these like REO distribution platforms, set yourself your platform up, get a resume in there, whatever, just kind of make it look good. Then a lot of times you'll start receiving assignments from that. So not guaranteed, but it does. But whenever you start receiving them, they just keep coming.
There you go. Price of admission today covered right there by Jordan Ray. I've never heard of that before. That's why I love getting on here. For doing this for 30 years, I learn something new every time I'm on this thing. Jordan, will you do me a favor and put that and any others you think of in the chat box? Because people are
Sure.
going to want to know that, and throw like any names you have down there and they can do their own research and find them
Yeah.
or whatever. But if you have the website, great. If not, you just have the name, throw that in there, please. And then Tony Williams, you were going to talk next, and then we'll go to Justo.
You know, I I was sitting here and I receive a text and it just says, um, my wife and I have an issue going on right now. We have a 5,500 square foot house. We expect to be in the 900 range. Can you see us as soon as possible? And just like what Kim's saying, people are reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta make sure that you're available and you put things out there, showing that you know how to do these things. The other question I had back in 2011, I did 44 short sales that year. Are we going to see short sales again, do you think? And we may need an explanation of what that means.
Yeah, so short sales are definitely something that could be possible. Those are people who are actually upside down in their home. Currently, currently, according to ChatGPT again, 3.8% of the homes who have a mortgage. Now remember, what less than half the homes in the country, or a little more than half the homes in the country even have a mortgage. Well, out of that half, of course, only 3.8% of people are what's called upside down. What's upside down mean? They owe more than what their house is worth. Now, how would we find people who are upside down? Does anybody remember people that were paying 150,000 over list back in 21
Mm-hmm.
and 22 when the
Yep.
rates were 3%, right? And you had 17 offers. If something bad happened to those good people, those people could be potentially upside down people.
Yep.
There are some other people who may have borrowed a second mortgage out on their house. And then when they did the second mortgage, maybe the appraiser blew out the value, basing it on 21, 22 values, and the values have come down. So now they have a first and second mortgage. And also sometimes we have tax liens. People didn't pay their taxes. And so now the federal government or the state or the city came in and put tax liens on their property. Those people could be upside down people. And what can happen is the tax places can foreclose too. If the property taxes aren't getting paid, they can foreclose, right? So we can
Mm-hmm.
have that. So a short sale. Well, who wants to describe short sale? Tony Williams, you want to give the definition? You brought the term up. Why don't you tell everybody what a short sale is?
Essentially, what it is when a seller can show a hardship. And that's how it starts up. They have a hardship. Maybe they're on that pre-foreclosure list, and you contact well, first you go talk to the seller, find out who their bank is. You contact the bank and say, would you consider taking something less than the balance owed? And many times you'll find instead of them foreclosing, that they'll pay all the compensation for the agent, and just to make sure that nothing happens. They would rather not go through foreclosure, and they would rather the house sell for something close to what they're owed. The thing you run into on this, of course, is you don't see this on higher equities. You see it more on where people have put less money down, and
Mm-hmm.
now the market's not gone up that much, so they're close to being upside down. But then the bank would agree to take less. You sell it for that, and that that owner has less risk. They may be, responsible for part of the short, but they have less risk because they're not foreclosed on. They can regain their credit faster as well.
Mhm.
So for those of you out there who are like, wait a minute, what's Tony Williams talking about? 50 years in real estate, has he lost his marbles? A bank would take less than what is owed? Why would a bank ever do that? And here's your answer. Because what is it that banks require buyers to pay? Starts with a P and ends with an I. What is it that they require buyers to pay when they're not putting more than 20% down? Who knows what that's called on the loan? It's called
PMI
private
insurance.
mortgage insurance,
That's
PMI.
right.
They're doing, oh, it's mortgage insurance. Does that protect the buyer? No. Who does it
No.
protect? The bank. So the
Mhm.
bank takes less that's owed, and then they file a private mortgage insurance claim, and the bank gets made whole. Now, one of the beautiful parts about a short sale is this. The bank also pays realtor commissions. Why would a bank take less than what's owed, but still pay a listing agent, a buyer's agent on the transaction? Why would they ever do that? Because if they have to foreclose, they're going to have to hire a local agent to sell the house and pay a buyer's agent on the end anyways. They might as well just do it up front and then not
Mhm.
have to pay all the lawyers they have to pay to go out and foreclose on the home. And then the home has to sit in their inventory, and then it has to get winterized, and then it gets broken in by vandals, and then it gets the copper pipe stole out of it, right? And the air conditioning unit and all the
Yep.
appliances and things like that. Rather than do all of that, they'd rather just hire you, the agent, to find these pre-foreclosures, Tony Chusto's word, right? We talked about, and then go out and talk to the people. First of all, see if you can come up with a loan modification. Is there something the bank can do to recast the loan? There are things they can do. Give them a forbearance while they get back on their feet. The bank will try to work with them, and you, that's you listening to this right here, can be the ones that bring this to them. And you are saving people's lives. There were people back in 2008 that were so stressed that took their own lives because of
Mhm.
the financial crisis and because people put so much emphasis. It's the embarrassment of losing their home, and if they have to foreclose and they got to go through a bankruptcy and all those different things to protect them, they don't want to do all that, right? It's embarrassing. You can be the voice of reason and bring them and say, look, this is just a blip in your life. Let me take this pressure off of you. Let me help you and bring semblance back to your life. You go be a mom and a dad, and keep looking for your job, and I'll handle the stress on this end.
I see where
And that,
Jordan
go ahead.
Jordan just closed a short sale.
Beautiful. Excellent. So we'll talk about that. I'll go Tony Justo next, and we'll come to Jordan here in a second.
No, that wasn't me. That was with Laura Bugos.
I
I
see
was
your
just
hand up.
replying.
That's the only reason I was saying I got your hand up on there. That's right. No
Oh, I
problem.
remove it.
No
My
problem.
bad.
Jordan Ray, you're next. All right, Jordan Ray. Oh, before we go with you, Jordan, actually, Jordan, why don't you read everything you put in the chat for people that are just maybe listening on audio, all the stuff you typed in the chat, all those different places for foreclosure assignments.
Yeah, it's Pyramid, Equator, ResNet, Accelerus, Altisource, Venderly, just to name a few. The first four, Pyramid, Equator, ResNet, Accelerus, are some of the better ones. I personally have had a lot of success on Pyramid. I've gotten a little bit of business on Equator, and I've heard ResNet and Accelerus have been good, but I haven't really received anything from those. But it's good to be on all of them if you can. And then, yeah, and then I was just basically writing in there saying that these are for foreclosure assignments, REO, aka bank owned properties. Um, and that's pretty much the majority of what that's for.
Love it.
Some of these platforms, by the way, do have direct contact with some of the mortgage companies. So I think Equator does it, and maybe one other of the platform where if you have a short sale, you can actually go into the platform and put the short sale in and submit it directly to the mortgage company instead of going through like the whole email process and waiting on them to reply and all that. And so you can submit it directly on there if you've got a full package already. Um, yeah, that's all I got.
There's a designation called CDPE, Certified Distressed Property Expert. And back in
Mhm.
2008, if you went out and got that designation and went through those classes, the banks would send to you people who were behind and have you go out and knock on their doors and say, hey, you don't
Mhm.
have to foreclose. I'm here with the bank. I'm a real estate agent. I'm here with the bank, but do you want to talk? There's options for you. You don't have to just let it go and foreclose it. It's the worst thing you can do, just foreclosing on it. Do you want to
Mhm.
talk? And they would send us out, and they were sending them to us back then. We're not at
Wow.
that, not anywhere near that area right now. We're back in 2008, just to give you guys an idea, one out of every four sales were in my market. One out of every
Mhm.
four
Yep.
was either a foreclosure or a short sale. One out of every
Mhm.
four,
Wow.
right? Back in the day, that was 25%, Go ahead, Justo.
Well, I've got something that, if people are looking and, you know, whether you're marketing on Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever platform, if you want to get hyper local, I don't know if anyone else knows this or uses it, but there's a website called Nextdoor. You can also it's also on the App Store. It gets you hyper local. You can do it for your own community, or if there's one that you're targeting, you can join and get the feed on that. And that could be also a great source for leads, as well as any sort of advertisement. And on Facebook, go into groups, and that's where you can also cherry pick and get some good leads and ideas from. If you want to go in a mom and dad group in your town, or better yet, start a group, and you can start pulling in potential leads that way as well.
I love it. That's great. So, Laura, um, I saw that you said you just closed a short sale this month. Did you want to throw some more detail on that? You're in Chicago area, right? If you're, I think we've got her muted out there. We'd have to make it so she can unmute.
She actually
I
lives
just
really
put
close to me.
No, that's very good.
I just clicked on her.
Let's see if she wants to expand on that. But Billy said something while we're waiting on Laura here, see if she wants to unmute and talk a little bit about that. But Billy said something I thought was really interesting. Billy said, I think the market we will see first is more a market that he's in, which is a vacation rental market. So this goes back to the part of it being hyper local. Here's an action that everybody on here could do today. The minute this thing's done, you could go to your ChatGPT, ask it for your local foreclosure stats, ask it to compare and contrast that with the national foreclosure stats, right? Because Billy says his market he thinks might be worse than the national average,
Mhm.
right? And then you can have it create you a graphic. Maybe you're like, you know what, I'm not going to do video. I'm terrified to do a video. Have it create you a graphic that's Instagram worthy and also Facebook worthy to put on there with your likeness, your brokerage information, everything like that, so you're compliant, and have it create for you. And you could be posting stuff 15 minutes after this is over today. And here's the thing. In real estate, there's a thing called the first mover's advantage. It's actually in all of
Mhm.
business.
Yep.
The person that moves first, right, is the one that people are going to come to when they're in that situation. It's cherry picking. There are people right now in your sphere right now that are behind their mortgage, or they know
Yep.
somebody who is, right? You can get that business by being the one talking about it, because how many other agents in your market are talking about it right now? Zero,
Not many. Yeah, not
right?
many at all.
Yeah. It's why Stacy and I did open houses this weekend, because nobody was doing them. And both of us had massive success from it, from being in our open house. Mine was at a church, selling a church for a commercial property, and I was there. And I had great feedback. I met the guy who's the planning commissioner for the entire area, that part of Columbus, invited me out to a meeting to sit in on one of his board meetings. Awesome, right? That kind of, find those opportunities by hitting them up. Anyways, I digress on this. So Laura says she closed a short sale. Jordan Ray said, I just closed a short sale this month. Awesome. How long did it take to close it? Last one he did took 6 months. So here's something that's important for us to say in this. Short sale does not mean quick sale.
Yeah.
Short sale actually is an oxymoron, because it's actually a long sale. It actually takes a long
It's
time.
like
It means the bank is being shorted money. It's short at closing. Well, you know who they don't short? The real estate agents, right? We pulled back in the day in '08, we were doing full 6% listings, and we were taking a $395 fee for every lien on the property because we had to
Mhm.
negotiate each one individually. So we were pulling 7 and 8% listing fees back then. By the time you add it up, because some of these houses would have 7, 8 liens, right?
Mhm.
So we'd had that. Billy says, yeah, during COVID, people bought more than they could afford. Gas prices rising will hit vacation rentals, causing people to dump them. So there you go, right? It can definitely be hyper local where you're at, and it can be important. There's Laura. She's unmuted. Laura,
Sorry,
hi.
I had to grab a
How's Chicago?
call. We're having
Hey, no
construction
problem.
done at our lake house,
Hey,
and the
when you're a
concrete guys,
superstar
they're
busy,
pouring. And
when you're a
my husband's
superstar
like,
busy agent like Laura, she's probably got a million calls going on. But Laura, let's hear your short sale experience in Chicago.
well, yeah, normally they're not this. This one took over a year, but that's not normal. I always hire a negotiator, and she works for the title company, and she negotiates it for me. I don't do my own. That's just way too much work. I don't have the time for that. So normally, it would take about 4 months or so. But this one, the bank sold the loan in the middle of the transaction, and they sold it to a company that was horrible. But it was a divorce situation. They had no equity in the house. It was a referral from a client. So, that's most of my business. That's how I got that lead. But it was fine. I mean, it closed and we were fine. And the sellers got out of it and they owed no money and they went on their way. So it was better than a foreclosure.
Mortgage debt forgiveness. Laura, talk a little bit about that if you want to.
Yeah, and they also had an IRS lien too. So
Wow.
they actually were able to wipe, I believe they wiped that out also. And
Wow.
somehow they ended up with a check. I still don't know how. This is unusual, but they ended up with a check of 22,000
Wow.
that they got to keep. And they kept telling the bank about it, but the bank didn't ask for the money, so they actually ended up keeping it, which worked out,
Well, okay.
Tell them not
right?
to spend it all in
But
one
yeah,
place
no,
in case there's an audit that comes up in the
yeah.
bank.
Yeah,
Right? Exactly.
it completely wiped out everything that they owned. So,
Yeah.
I got paid, we got a good commission on it and the bank was willing to pay both sides and the sellers walked away with nothing, but they have no debt either. So it
Nice.
worked
Well,
If
out.
you
hey,
take one
how
thing
did you keep
away,
the I'm sorry.
go ahead. Go
How'd you
ahead.
keep the buyers engaged for a year?
Well, the first buyer ended up walking because
Okay.
what happened was we had one price on it. I think it sold for 240. And then the BPO came in at 275. So he decided no, he didn't want to pay 275. So I had to put it back on the market at the approved price of 275 and I got another offer right away. Now he
Gotcha.
was whining a little bit, but he was only 4 months into the transaction. So his agent just had not schooled him correctly to
Yeah.
know that it's going to take some time. So that's where that came in. But we closed and
Good.
thank God, got rid of it.
Yeah.
Well,
If you
But
take one thing away from today that everybody on here should try to remember, and that we need to put out there into the sphere, into the audience, and that's this: banks don't want to foreclose.
Mm-mm.
no,
If you're in a distressed situation or you're falling behind on your payments or something like that, all you have to do is reach out. There's lots of things you've never heard of that we can help you with. And if you take this away as an agent today, if all this sounds like gobbledygook for you, start getting, if you think we might be heading that direction a little more, whereas it'll be more distressed, get your education out of the way right now. Find
Right.
yourself a good real estate buddy who's done short sales before. Don't try to do your first one by yourself. Learn with somebody and don't be a
Mhm.
cheapskate. Split the commission with them, right? Because they're going to be doing 90% of the work. You're going to be doing the watching. So pay them,
Mhm.
right? That's the way to learn. And your clients, you're going to make sure you don't shaft your clients because you screw up a short sale, like you forget the little thing like the mortgage debt forgiveness letter, which forgives them of the debt that they owe. Now they might
Yeah,
have to file a bankruptcy, right? And
Right.
that's not good. I mean, you can absolutely negotiate the mortgage debt forgiveness letter into that if you're a skilled short sale negotiator, right? Or like Laura said, she's built a team around it. Laura
right.
got her own short sale negotiator who
Hmm.
who does that,
That's
right? And
the
I'm sure
best
she
way to go
pays
right
that
there. Yeah.
person
And
handsomely to do that, right?
they get paid out of the short sale. The seller can't pay any money. So we also got $5,000 closing cost credit from the buyer, which helped to pay the attorney and the short sale negotiator. So
Are
that
you
that covered
judicial
that
though,
piece.
Laura, in Chicago? Are you
Pardon me?
judicial or non-judicial state? Sorry, judicial or non-judicial state in Chicago?
Gosh, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. How long does a foreclosure take there?
Oh,
90
they could
days
take a
before
couple.
they,
Oh no, it could take a couple years.
yeah. So you're judicial then, goes through the courts. Yep.
Yeah,
But the
yeah, no,
non-judicial ones
they'll.
where they can take that house quick, right?
Oh no, no, that's not going to happen here. And my title company, if I ask for what's called a property report on any property that I'm looking at, like right now, I was at a house yesterday, I'm going to get a property report from them. What's nice about the property report, first of all, they do it for free. It's quick. It shows me all the liens on the house. It shows me the chain of title. It shows a lot of information, but it also has the neighbors and it also shows anyone that's in pre-foreclosure. So
Nice.
there's a list
I love it.
right there.
Hmm.
You could
So
just go
what
door
we're
knocking.
discovering here as agents is the opportunity is not really just the foreclosure itself. The opportunity here for everybody right now in the stage where we're at with the current real estate market is there's a lot of media companies pumping scare tactics. You can come in as the reasonable person who's the local expert, right? And you can find some people who are in a stress situation that you can help and you can monetize where they're at because they're probably in a position of equity, is what we're seeing.
And you know what?
Right.
Here's what I'll tell everyone. The first time you call, they all lie. You say, "Hey, I'm just giving you a quick call." They all say, "Oh no, I'm fine. No, we're
Right.
working with the bank. It's all fine. No, no, we're going to do a refi or something. They're going to do something."
Right.
And they're all full of it and they don't do it and it ends up getting foreclosed on. So you have to follow up with them. So I usually would tell them, that's fine. Great. Congratulations. Is there anything I can do to help you with that? Support you? I'm here for you. I can help give you some advice on, what to say, what not to say to the bank. Now you're building that rapport. You keep in touch with them. When they are ready, they're going to naturally go to you because you've been there helping them. So
Hmm.
that's a good
Yeah.
way to start building that book
You
of
come,
business.
Laura's hit it right on. You come from a place of service and then
Hmm.
remind them if they're behind on their payments and we are going to have to do a short sale or something, those people have no money. Right? So what they're thinking is, oh my gosh, I can't make my mortgage payment. How am I going to pay this realtor to do all this work? Remind them that the bank is basically hiring me to help you through this process because the bank doesn't want to foreclose. So the bank is going to pay the realtor fees. We're going to get paid. It's just you're not paying it. Oh
Right.
my gosh, it just takes the weight right off their shoulders.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then watch how fast they want your help when they
Right.
realize they don't have to pay you and that you are still getting paid, right? So you have to be careful how you phrase it. Make sure you check with your brokers. There's our disclaimer. We're a bunch of different states. Make sure you check with your brokers on the things you can
Right.
say and what
Right.
you're trying to put in print. But
Yeah.
that is we get paid by the bank basically. The bank is basically paying our fee
Yep.
so that they
Yep.
don't have to foreclose, right? So that's
I
a good
tell
way to
them
look.
it's going to cost you zero to sell your house. Nothing.
There you go. It's going to cost you
Nothing.
that, right? Anybody out
Mhm.
there before we wrap up? We got a lot of great seasoned vets on here. Anybody got a question they want to put in the chat or raise their hand before we get done? We're right coming up on the 1 o'clock hour. This has been great. While we're waiting to see if anybody's got a question, here's your call to action. Everything you learned today is awesome, right? It's nice knowledge that you have, but knowledge is not power. It's the application of knowledge. It's the action you take on that knowledge that is the actual power, according to Tony Robbins, right?
Yep.
And I follow that guy and I believe in him. So here's what I would do. If you're inspired a little bit on this, use your AI to create yourself a nice social media graphic right after this and get it out on your social media. Just rip the Band-Aid off and get it out. Get the national averages, what's going on with the numbers. That'll apply to what's going on in the news media. Figure out what your local numbers are. Get them on some type of graphic if you don't want to make a video and put it out there with your mugshot and your contact
Yep.
information. And the call to action is, who do you know that might need my help?
Hmm.
Right? And that's who will happen. Somebody will say, you know what? My cousin's having some trouble. Let me check with them and see if it's cool if I connect you guys. And then have them connect you on a 3-way text. And then you take it from there, right? And so that's it. That's the 1 o'clock hour. This was our Monday Mastermind. We do them every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have your real estate friends on here. We know a bunch of you watch the recording. We'd love to have you on here live, have you participate. If you're an agent out there and you have some type of specific talent or a special thing that you're really good at, we can have you on as a featured agent if you'd like to be on here for that. I think these open things have been pretty good. Rob,
Yeah.
Kim, Laura, tell me what you guys think on these. These have been good.
Yeah.
Love them.
Yeah,
We're
I
trying to
love
come up
it.
with relevant stuff. So bring a
Hmm.
friend. The bigger the group we have, it's not just for
Yes,
seasoned agents, it's for people who are brand new too, right? We'd love to have your
right.
questions and things like that that are going on in here. So we'll see everybody next Monday. We don't know much Monday's topic yet, do we?
Not yet. We're
The
working on
website.
it.
So check us out on
Awesome.
Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Watch for the AI notes. I got my AI note taker taking notes on here. He talks like me a little bit, so sometimes there's cuss words in there or something like that. It's he talks like I do, and the military taught me to talk like a truck driver. But we'll get that out to people that were on there. Watch for an email from our crack support staff team. That's our reward to you for coming and showing up live on this. And it's going to be a great way for you. You could even take the notes from that and incorporate that into your AI, move it over into that, and use that to create your social media graphics and go from there. So thanks a lot, everybody,
Awesome.
for jumping on. We'll see everybody next
Thank you,
Monday.
guys. Next
Have a good
Bye,
Monday.
guys.
Yep.